What's up guys, and welcome back to Software and Audio Solutions, and today we're talking about Apex Legends. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, Apex Legends is now basically running in 2023, and it is a new year. I haven't done one of these videos in a little while, and I would love to keep up to date on Apex Legends for you guys to let you guys have a competitive advantage and also have a smooth gameplay experience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some Windows settings and stuff like that you can change to make your game run a little bit better. And then I'm also going to go into the game itself and then go in depth to the settings that you can change to have a competitive advantage, smoother gameplay experience, and more overall FPS boost inside the game. So make sure to stick around for the whole entire video and just watch my whole entire video and just follow my steps and you should be good to go. Alright, let's jump straight into it.
Do you fear me, legends? Celestial sunrise, a new year. A celebration of new beginnings, renewed strength, and good fortune. Foremost. You're fortunate. I have much to teach you.
Now the first thing I highly recommend you go ahead and do is change this over here. You're going to change this from default to compact. Please go ahead and do this. Put this at off. You're going to turn this completely off as well. You can put this on stacking. The damage numbers is all depending on your personal preference. I have mine on stacking. It actually tells you on the right hand side what this does. But I have mine at stacking and I leave it like this. I highly recommend that you go ahead and put your ping at its default. Don't have it faded because you don't want that to, you know, just basically just fade away. So leave it at default. This you're going to leave at on. You're going to put this off. This you're going to turn off as well. Off as well. You do not want to auto sprint. Double tap sprint off as well. You can do this automatically by doing it yourself. You're going to have this at hold, not at toggle, and you're going to change this from 3D to 2D. Now what this will do, just these settings that I just showed you now, it will give you a competitive advantage because this is the gameplay settings that I'm showing right now. But there's a lot of things that we can still tweak to make you have a better, smooth gameplay experience and also just having a competitive advantage. Alright, let's get into this. Alright, so as we go down here, I'm just going to go a little bit down just to show you what is going to be disabled and changed inside this game. Alright, so taking damage, you're going to turn this completely off. I highly recommend you go ahead and do this. Turn this to off as well. The hop up, just go ahead and turn this off, and then this off as well. Streamer mode, you don't need this at all. This you're going to put on disable, and then usage sharing you're going to turn off as well. This you're going to have on. Performance display, you can go ahead and turn that on. If you do not have MSI Afterburner like me, you can go ahead and turn this on over here. This I highly recommend you go ahead and disable. You do not need this. Have this on everyone. And then change this from default to custom, and then you're going to go ahead and change this over here. Now what you can do is you can actually change the images just to find out which one will look best for you. Now can you see here, if you look in the lava and you have this on red, you can't even see this. So I highly recommend that you either go ahead and change this to like a baby blue color, because there's not much things in the game that's baby blue except the maps itself. Now my own personal preference is this pink over here. Now I do make it a little bit lighter like this, and then you can go ahead and look at the images like this. Nothing in the game on the maps can make your sight hide away itself, right? So keep this at pink. I do suggest this, but it's your own personal preference on what type of color you're going to use inside here. You can use yellow, you can use red, you can use green, baby blue, dark blue, pink, another red, whatever color you want. My own personal preference is this over here, and it just overall feels much better. When I look through my sights, I can actually see my enemies without it disappearing on the map, because it's the exact same color as the map itself, right? So I highly suggest that you go ahead and select your own personal color inside here. Mine is basically pink. Right, so laser sight comes in a big play as well, but not so much. I do suggest you go to custom and then actually just have this as your same color as what you choose before this. So whatever this color is here, go to custom and change it to that color as well. Please go ahead and do that. Right, this one over here, I highly suggest that you go ahead and change this to this over here. Colors and stuff like that actually stands out, but yet again, it's your own personal preference of what you're going to do here. Normally people just keep this off and they leave it like this because it's its default settings, but a lot of people do change it to this over here. I just leave mine off because it's my own personal preference. It's going to be your own personal preference on what you're going to do here. Alright, so this is off. this on normal, this off, and then this off as well. Alright, let's jump straight into the mouse and keyboard. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so mouse and keyboard is basically your own personal preference. I can't really tell you what to do inside here. I can't much tell you what to do inside here. Like, for instance, my mouse sensitivity is my own personal preference. I have it at 5.0 and then having my mouse at 600 on its DPI on the mouse. Now, something that I do want to point out is these two over here. Leave this off, and leave this on. Do not put these things on and don't put this off. Leave this as is. And obviously, these things are going to be your own personal preference. I can't really tell you what to do here. Yet again, I can't tell you what to do here inside here. But this over here plays a very big role in the game itself, depending on how your game feels, how fast your mouse is, and how quick your reaction would be. Now, mine's at 5.0, and then I also have my mouse at 600. Alright, let's jump straight into controller. Alright, so you're going to click on controller over here. You're going to have this at default. You're going to have this all the way to tap to use and reload. You're going to have this at hold. You're going to have this at hold as well. You're going to have this on. You're going to have this at default. You're going to have this at high on 4. And you're going to have this at default over here at 3. You're going to have this at classic, and you're going to have this at small, alright? So this you're going to have it small, this you're going to have it off, and this you're going to have it on, alright? The advanced options, you can do your own personal preference inside here. Let's jump straight into the video tab. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I'm in the video tab right now, so I highly recommend you go ahead and put this at full screen. Don't change this to either windowed or borderless windowed mode. What it's going to do is it's going to give stutter in the game, and it's not recommended to do so. So please go ahead and leave this at full screen mode. Don't worry, you can still press the Windows key or Alt tab if you want to get out of the game and quickly send a message or something like that, or do something. Just leave it at full screen mode. Always have the aspect ratio at 16:9, or it's a native that it's giving you for your monitor. Alright, your resolution is native to your monitor, so if it's 1080p, 1440p, 4K, whatever the case might be, go with native. Brightness is your own personal preference, but I leave mine at 50%, and then my field of view I have at 110. This will also be your own personal preference, okay? This I do suggest you put on enable and put this on minimal, the sprint view shake, because normal, it's just gonna be, you want a competitive advantage, so go with minimal over here. VSync, I have mine at disabled. There's a reason why I have mine on disabled, because a lot of people are saying you should either change this to triple buffered and then apply these settings, and yeah, you will do so much more FPS. Like as you can see at the top left corner there, I'm doing almost 300 FPS. Now I can go on with this to adaptive and apply these settings, and then I'll do about, yeah, what, 270, go to adaptive over here, times 1.2 rate, then I can also do on 270, almost 300 FPS. Now, this is the thing about VSync. If you change it to this, your FPS is going to be all over the place, and it might just drop under 60, and your game's going to feel like absolute dog shit. So go ahead and turn this to completely disable and apply this to your machine. Your max FPS that you will hit inside here will be 144, but it will be on a consistent basis of being on 144 no matter what you do and no matter what you do inside the game and where you are on the map. I highly recommend you go ahead and disable this. Nvidia Reflex, disable this. You do not need this in the game. Please turn it off. Adaptive Resolution FPS Target. Now you can go ahead and change this to your refresh rate of your monitor, like 60, 120, 140, 144, 240, whatever the case might be, or what type of monitor you're running. You can change this to what you want to. I don't recommend it. Go ahead and turn it to 0. Alright, this over here, anti-analyzing, do not put this on none. You're going to have jagged edges on your character, on your screen, on the objects inside the game. Put this at TSAA. It is the best for the game. Texture streaming budget, I highly recommend if you have a 6 gig graphics card, go with 4. If you have a 4 gig graphics card, go with 3 or 2 to 3. If you have a 3 gig graphics card, go to 2. If you have a 2 gig graphics card, go with none. Alright? Or you could just go with 2 itself. Right? So you get the point. So if you have a, I don't know, a 8 gig graphics card, go with 6. If you have a 12 gig graphics card, go with 8. You get my drift. Alright? So it's just 2 down basically. Alright? So I have a 6 gig graphics card, so I go with 4 gigs over here. I have a RTX 2060 OC, so I go with high and 4 gigs, not exactly on 6 gigs. I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose FPS, so go 1 down. Alright? Keep this at 16 times. A lot of people are saying that you should put it at 8 times. You can put this on 8 times if you want a little bit more FPS out of your game itself. Your game might change a little bit in its texture filtering, but you will get more FPS out of your game, and it will be more of a consistent basis, your FPS, but I do suggest putting this on 16. If you're having problems and struggling with FPS, go with 8 over here. I leave mine at 16. This one over here, ambient occlusion quality, go ahead and turn this off. You do not need this in this game. This on low, this on low. You do not need this. Now, a lot of people are saying that you should go to spot shadow detail and go all the way to either very high or high. I don't recommend this because what it's going to do is it's actually going to decrease your FPS inside your game, so go with disabled as well. This you're going to disable, this you're going to disable. Model detail, I highly recommend you go ahead and keep this at high. If you have a very low end PC and you see that your game is really struggling to play on your machine, you can go ahead with medium or low. It's your own personal preference, but if you have a good enough machine, go with high, medium, low, and low. Let's jump straight into the audio. Right, so these are the best audio settings you can use right now at this very moment in the game. The master volume, obviously at 100%. Keep it at 100%. This you're obviously going to choose your input device, so your microphone. Mine's automatically picking it up for me by choosing system default. It actually does work, but I can go ahead and select my headphones. So this one over here is push to talk. I highly recommend you go ahead and do that so you don't irritate other players while you're playing by having an open mic. Then you can have thresholds and stuff like that. Go with push to talk and use a button to do that. Alright, the incoming voice chat, I do recommend turning this down a little bit, maybe to like 50 or something like that, because a lot of people's mics are really fucking cheap and fucking really bad. You will hear it through your headset and you will get cancer and leave the fucking game if you have this at 100%. So I do recommend putting this at 50%. You should be good to go. If you play with friends and stuff like that in Discord, you're not even going to care about this over here. So, but I do suggest if you play with randoms, put this at 50%. Put this at 100%, and then the dialogue volume, I do recommend you either put this at like 75 or 80. 75 should be good to go. Music volume all the way down. Lobby music volume all the way down, and then the sound in background obviously off as well. Just go to the start button here at the bottom and then go to settings. You can also do this by going to the search button and type in settings, and then go to where it says privacy. Scroll all the way down, and then where you see background apps, if you are running Windows 10 like me, it's very easy to turn these things off, and what it's going to do is it's not going to use resources like your RAM and your CPU in the background while you are playing your game. So with Windows 10 users, it's very easy to do. You just go from here to turning it off. Now all of these things won't run in the background, and what it will do is it will help you with saving resources like RAM and CPU, and also GPU in general. What it will do is it will help you game perform much better. Now with Windows 11, it's much more difficult and much more complicated. You have to individually disable these things. It's just a little bit of a shit show for Windows 11 users, but if you're on Windows 10 like me, all you're going to need to do is just click this little box over here, and all of these things will turn off. Once you're done with that, you're going to go to the home button over here and then go to gaming. Once you're over here, you are going to go to game mode. Now for Apex Legends, I highly recommend that you go ahead and turn game mode on, for especially for Nvidia users. I don't know so much about AMD. Maybe you can go ahead and try this out for AMD. If you are an AMD user, try it out, see if you get more of an FPS boost. Something I do want to point out is this over here. Go to graphics settings and then go ahead and turn off hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. Turn it off. Do not have this on. If you have this on and you turn it off and it says restart your PC, don't worry, just turn it off. Watch my video finish. At the end of this video, you're going to have to restart your computer in anyways. If you have your game inside here by, adding the game inside here, just click on any game or Apex itself or whatever games you have inside here. Click on it, and then on the right, it will say remove. Please go ahead and remove this. Once you're done with that, you're going to close out of this. If you are an Nvidia user like me, just right click on your desktop and open up an Nvidia control panel, and an Nvidia control panel will open just like this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go to adjust image settings with preview, and it's going to look like this, and you're going to have it on this one over here where it says use the advanced 3D image settings, and it's going to say take me there. It's basically just going to take you over here. Now I highly recommend all you're going to need to do is just copy my settings as it is inside here. Trust me, these settings, what it's going to do is it's going to make your game perform much better, and your game overall will just be much smoother. Now there's a few things that's very important. Number one, which would be this one over here. I highly recommend you go ahead and select your dedicated graphics card. Don't just say auto select. go and select your dedicated GPU. Go here where it says prefer maximum performance, power management mode, go to prefer maximum performance. Shader cache, what this will do is it will give you less stutter in your game, so don't put this on default driver, don't put this on unlimited, put this on 100 gigs, alright? Once you're done with that, you're going to allow this and put this on high performance. The texture filtering quality, put this on high performance. Trust me, this will give you an FPS boost and it will help you a lot in the game to have a competitive advantage. Trust me, it will help for you. Have this at on, have this at on, off, and then these are just virtual reality things. You don't have to really care about that. But then I highly recommend that you go ahead and copy all of these things that I have over here as well. Please go ahead and copy all of these settings over here. Low latency mode, I highly recommend you go ahead and select this, but put this on. Do not put this at ultra. For some reason, it has a problem with Apex Legends if you put this on ultra. I don't know why, but Apex Legends with its new season, for some reason, if you put this on Ultra, it makes the game even worse than what it is. So just put it on, don't have it off. Have it on. Once you have applied all of these settings, you just go ahead and apply them here at the bottom. Once you're done with that, you're going to go to config surround in PhysX, and you're going to go over here where it says PhysX settings. Now, your PhysX is handled through your GPU. So do not say auto select, do not say CPU, select your dedicated graphics card you're currently running and say apply. Once you're done with that, you're going to go to adjust desktop color settings and you're going to come in here, right? Now, this is what I highly recommend you go ahead and do. Now, you need to play around with this depending on what type of display you have, gaming monitor or just monitor in general that you're playing your game on. Now, as you can see, I have 3. Now, this is my main one that I play on. Now, this is what I tweaked it to. 45%, 55%, and then 1.16 on the gamma. Now, something that you're going to play with is these. Try these out if you want to. Go to image 3 and go to digital vibrance and check how this would go to black and white. And then if you push this all the way up to like 100, the digital vibrance becomes more intense. Now I have this on my sweet spot, which is 90, and it makes everything pop inside the game, especially inside Apex Legends. Apex Legends is full of colors. You want the colors to pop and look much better. This is how you do it. Not really much in-game, but this is how you're going to do it. Trust me, this works 100%. Unfortunately, I can't do this for AMD, but I will be doing it for people that's using Nvidia cards like me. So go ahead and play around with this. I do suggest 90% or 85. Go ahead and apply these settings. Alright, once you apply these settings, we can close out of this. Ladies and gentlemen, if this worked for you, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new here, and as always, I hope this helped you, and peace out.